This map shows the Strait of Hormuz. The shipping lanes here are just 2 miles wide in each direction, but through that microscopic bottleneck flows 20% of the world's seaborne oil and liquefied natural gas, carried by a dense highway of more than 150 massive cargo ships every single day. When the US and Israel launched airstrikes on Iran in February 2026, the reaction was instantaneous. Traffic fell to a daily average of just 13. Shipping traffic has entered a state of sustained paralysis that shows no signs of lifting, leaving nearly 10% of the world's largest oil tankers effectively locked inside the Persian Gulf. A breakdown of this magnitude exposes how quickly the global energy supply chain can collapse when forced through a single narrow point of failure. To close an ocean, you don't need a massive naval armada or a dense field of sea mines physically blocking the water. Iran choked the strait using psychological warfare, small patrol boats, and targeted missile strikes on regional infrastructure. This asymmetrical threat was enough to panic maritime insurers, driving war risk premiums up by 300%. To get through this blockade, ships now face what analysts call the Tehran toll booth. Vessels are forced to undergo vetting by Iranian authorities and ordered to pay millions of dollars in cryptocurrencies or Chinese yuan for the right to pass safely. By treating an international waterway as a privately managed toll road, Iran launched a direct structural attack on the American-led doctrine of freedom of navigation. The most severe impact of this blockade hits thousands of miles away. This chart tracks the immediate market reaction. Crude oil shot up toward $130 a barrel. Asian liquefied natural gas prices surged 170%. The Philippines declared a national energy emergency, announcing its fuel reserves would run out in just 45 days. Without affordable energy, regional manufacturing slows. The cost of nitrogenous fertilizers climbs, which inevitably drives up the price of food for years to come. The blockade demonstrates that even the world's most advanced economies have no contingency plan for a total cutoff of Middle Eastern fuel. China also relies on Middle Eastern imports, yet its economy is quietly weathering the storm while its neighbors scramble for supplies. The difference is physical infrastructure. China built a sprawling network of strategic reserves, holding over 1.3 billion barrels of oil. They also built a parallel supply chain. This flowchart maps the ant strategy. A dark fleet of ships funnels sanctioned Iranian oil, bypassing official channels and flowing into a decentralized network of independent teapot refineries. While the rest of Asia faces an immediate crisis, China's years of building redundant, shadow market supply lines have successfully insulated its industry from the shock. That economic insulation translates directly into diplomatic leverage. Because Beijing does not need to panic, it can leverage the panic of others. At the United Nations, Beijing positioned itself as an indispensable mediator. At the same time, it blocked Security Council resolutions that would have authorized U.S. military operations to reopen the strait. Beneath that public stance of mediation, Chinese officials are privately negotiating with Tehran to secure safe, exclusive passage for their own Chinese-linked vessels. Beijing is prioritizing its own industrial survival while using the chaos to undermine the maritime rules that the United States previously enforced. We are watching a clash between two very different versions of global trade. The United States demands unconditional access for every country, while China is strictly pursuing its own energy security. Beijing is perfectly willing to pay Tehran's tolls and accept Iranian sovereign control over international waters, so long as it guarantees Chinese imports. If an international waterway can be turned into a private toll road without resistance, the legal principle of free passage no longer exists in practice. The oceans have become a space where access is no longer a right, but a commodity to be negotiated.